After my fiancé left the country to find the one that got away, I publicly announced my engagement to my childhood friend. My friends were all incredulous, convinced I'd gone crazy. After all, I had always been hopelessly in love with Marcus. To secure an alliance by marriage with him, I even threw a huge fit and threatened drastic action until my parents agreed. When returned, he sneered, "What games are you playing now?" But I shrank behind my childhood friend, asking with a bewildered look, "Who are you?" The day Chloe left the country, I went viral online. Her fans claimed she had been threatened and forced to abandon her career in the States to leave the country. The villain who threatened her was me, the eldest daughter of Vance. The day my engagement to Marcus was announced, he openly attended a charity gala with Chloe. They were openly affectionate. When reporters questioned him about the engagement, he scoffed and refused to comment, showing no regard for me. The next day, some online critics began to leak information. They claimed I had threatened drastic measures to marry Marcus, securing the alliance by marriage opportunity. They also alleged that Chloe and Marcus had been together since university, and my jealousy had led me to retaliate maliciously. The rumors spread fiercely, and even my friends thought I was suffering from unrequited love for Marcus. But in reality, the alliance by marriage had been arranged by both families' elders. I hadn't been involved at all. After a moment of hesitation, I picked up my phone and called Marcus. It took a long time for the call to connect. Marcus's voice on the phone sounded somewhat impatient. "What is it now?" I paused, then said, "Where are you? I want to talk to you." Marcus scoffed. "The wedding hasn't happened yet. What right do you have to tell me what to do?" I vaguely heard an airport announcement on his phone and frowned. "You're at the airport? Where are you going?" The irritation and disgust in Marcus' tone were almost undisguised. "I'll go wherever I damn please. Is that any of your business?" "Grace, I underestimated you. My parents actually blackmailed me with the company air status to force me into this alliance by marriage." Marcus sneered, "You've certainly learned how to play dirty, too." I was stunned. So, Marcus had only agreed to the alliance by marriage because of that. I had ridiculously believed he was willing. It turned out to be a misunderstanding. During university, I had indeed liked Marcus. But shortly after we started dating, Chloe appeared. When she was alone with me, she never bothered to hide the hostility in her eyes. Yet, in front of Marcus, she was completely different. Later, Marcus and I began to argue. Chloe's presence was always at the root of every argument. At some point, the university forum suddenly saw an increase in posts mocking me as Marcus's loyal sycophant. In an instant, I transformed from the so-called campus queen into the subject of everyone's gossip. Ultimately, I chose to break up with Marcus. The day I suggested breaking up, Marcus remained silent for a long time, finally nodding. I stopped paying attention to his affairs. But I never expected that 5 years later, everything seemed to be repeating itself. Marcus, about the alliance by marriage. I tried to explain to Marcus, but he cut me off. "Don't worry," Marcus sneered, "I don't like you, but I won't give up the company." "Grace, you want the title of Mrs. Hayes? I'll give it to you. As for anything else, don't even dream of it." The next day, photos of Marcus and Chloe shopping in a European country surfaced. Chloe was holding a stack of expensive luxury shopping bags, her eyes crinkled in a smile. Marcus stood beside her, looking composed. In another photo, they were very close, seemingly kissing. The person who took the photos casually posted them on Twitter with the caption, "High-value couple spotted abroad, so sweet." The post quickly gained traction among many netizens. "OMG, isn't that Chloe? And the man next to her, is that Marcus? I bet a certain miss is gnashing her teeth at home right now. Heh, what good is power and influence? Marcus still loves our Chloe. Someone else can only cling to the fiancé title and cry in secret." Everyone declared Chloe and Marcus were a perfect match. Others delved into the university forum, digging up posts about Marcus and me. "Oh my God, it looks like Grace, when she was a department head in university, made things difficult for Chloe." Seeing that netizen screenshot, I vaguely remembered. At the time, Chloe, as a member of the department, wasn't properly completing her tasks. When it came time to select outstanding department members at the end of the year, I didn't include her name. In the department head's office, Chloe wept profusely. "Please, miss, I really need this award. I'm applying for the motivational scholarship, and without this award, my GPA won't be high enough." She cried pitifully, completely omitting any mention of her usual negligence. Just then, Marcus came to find me and witnessed the scene. "Grace, aren't there many slots for outstanding department members? Why don't you nominate Chloe?" I firmly shook my head. No, if I give her the award, it would be incredibly unfair to those who consistently worked hard. Marcus, however, disagreed. Others might not even need this award. Chloe is relying on it for her scholarship application. I wouldn't budge. If she knew she needed it, why didn't she perform well? There are plenty of competitions and projects to boost one's GPA. Is this the first day she realized her GPA wasn't sufficient? Marcus, for the first time, snapped back at me, accusing me of being cold-hearted and ruthless. Later, he added Chloe's name to his own competition project. Chloe also received the scholarship. Now, this incident was brought up again, dug out from the university forum, but it had been completely twisted. Because was CL. Owes to Chloe, she snatched Chloe's Outstanding Department Member Award. Seriously, I think Grace went a bit too far. Chloe was apparently a financially struggling student. If it weren't for Marcus, Chloe wouldn't have been able to pay her tuition for the second year. After this incident was unearthed, it enraged fans. They furiously doxed me, digging up my accounts on various social media platforms, even my private Twitter account. Even under my pet videos, there were floods of malicious insults. This cat is cursed to be with you. If a privileged sister like you owns a cat, even the cat won't have a good end. My DMs were even worse. Some people even sent edited photos of my family, like they were at a funeral. May the entire family of this rich girl go to hell. Several days of cyberbullying left me with a high fever that wouldn't break. In a daze, I kept calling Marcus at home. A high fever made me dizzy, confused, and my whole body ached. 1, 2, I didn't know how many calls I made, but no one ever picked up. The myriad of insults online lingered in my mind, and a wave of deep regret washed over me. Why did I agree to this alliance by marriage? Why did I ever like someone like Marcus? I kept calling Marcus, ready to break off the engagement the moment he picked up, but never responded. In a daze, I mistakenly dialed someone else, unsure who I was calling. What made you think of calling me? A clear, cold male voice answered. 3 When I woke up, I was in a hospital room. A very handsome young man stood by the bed. How are you feeling? The man asked, his voice clear but tinged with concern. Recognizing his face, my nose stung, and I lunged at him. Ethan, you're finally back. The person in my arms stiffened. Grace? I poured out my grievances. I had a high fever at home and couldn't reach you by phone. We're getting married in a month, where have you been? After I said that, Ethan froze, then fell silent for a moment. Who am I? I said, puzzled. You're Ethan, the second young master of the Cheen family, my childhood friend, and my current fiancé. What are you talking about? Ethan's eyes widened slightly. I glared back, what do you mean by that? His eyes flickered. Didn't you always like? Before he could finish, I grew angrier. Ethan, we're getting married in a month. Are you trying to back out on me? Ethan and I exchanged glances. A moment later, he pressed the call button by the bed. Doctor, hurry. The patient seems to have gone a little crazy. By the time the hospital's diagnosis report came out, my parents had also rushed to the hospital. The doctor said I had temporary memory loss caused by a high fever. Physically, I was fine, but they didn't know when my memory would return. My parents went out to talk to the doctor, leaving just Ethan and me in the room. I tugged on Ethan's sleeve, confused. Did my memory really go wrong? But I remember very clearly that we're getting married next month. Ethan's breathing suddenly became shallow. Grace, you heard what the doctor said. If you marry me and then your memory returns, and you find that. I interrupted him, I won't regret it. I'm an adult, I can take responsibility for my own choices. Ethan was stunned. But I can't force you to do something you don't want to. I hugged my knees, feeling a little lost. Since I was mistaken, then forget it. After all, it's my memory that's faulty, you're not obligated to marry me. The next moment, my hand was taken. Ethan held my fingers, looking into my eyes. We'll get married. His breathing was rapid. Let's set it for next month. I was discharged from the hospital without much delay. But my family were evasive about my past and unwilling to discuss it. Even my cell phone was lost somewhere when Ethan brought me to the hospital. When I proposed marrying Ethan next month, my parents surprisingly agreed enthusiastically. With the wedding date approaching, preparations were put on the agenda. I dragged death and around to look at wedding rings, wedding gowns, and wedding decorations. After choosing the wedding rings, I secretly took a photo of Ethan, smiling, and posted it on social media. Picked out our wedding rings together. Someone's taste isn't as good as mine. I had expected to receive blessings from my girls after posting it. Instead, my comment section exploded almost immediately. Huh? Wait, am I seeing things? When did Marcus get plastic surgery? Are you blind? That's Ethan. While I was still confused, my best friend bombarded me with messages. You dumped Marcus? I typed out a reply, who is Marcus? Before I could send it, Sarah sent me a bar's location. Tomorrow, our usual hangout. My treat. Let's talk about what happened. For the next afternoon, I arrived at the agreed location. As soon as I sat down, an unfamiliar girl came over. Grace, why did you suddenly get engaged to Ethan? It wasn't easy to get your parents to agree to an alliance by marriage with the Hayes family, was it? Did you give up because of a little online drama? Before I could speak, Sarah returned with drinks and overheard her. Why are you bringing that up? We've said it a million times, Grace would never cling to someone. Who does Marcus think he is? If you say another word about it, you can leave. We won't be friends anymore. The girl looked awkward and finally shut up. The atmosphere was a bit awkward, but I couldn't help but speak. What are you all talking about? I've always liked Ethan. Even with an alliance by marriage, the Cheen and Vance families are old friends, how could anyone else be involved? After I said that, the whole room fell into an even deeper silence. Everyone looked at me. A few seconds later, I realized they were looking behind me. Turning around, I was met with a face as cold as frost. For some reason, I sensed anger in this person's gaze. Grace, I'd barely been out of the country for 2 days, and you're already stirring up trouble again? Just a few photos, and you get so agitated? You really haven't matured at all over the years. The man's face was grim. You like Ethan, do you? Fine, then let's cancel the alliance by marriage. Go be with Ethan. I was originally curious about who this person was, but after being berated mercilessly, my temper flared. What kind of lunatic are you? Of course I'm going to be with Ethan. Am I supposed to be with you instead of my fiancé? If you've got a mental illness, go get it treated. Why are you lashing out at everyone? You're not even fit to tie Ethan's shoelaces. I unleashed a barrage of insults at the man, and his face grew darker and darker. He looked at me in disbelief. Grace, is this your new trick? I'm warning you, don't overdo it. Someone behind me tugged at my clothes, whispering, Grace, what are you doing? That's Marcus. Haven't you always liked him? Marcus? The name that had repeatedly come up around me. I pointed to myself. Me, like him? Ethan, my parents, and my friend's strange reaction suddenly flashed through my mind. I used to like this kind of person? How many times do I have to say it, Grace? I agreed to the alliance by marriage, but I won't like you one bit. Marcus's tone was sarcastic. My eyes were filled with disdain as I looked at Marcus. Liking you before was a mistake on my part. I like Ethan now, so get as far away from me as possible. You. Marcus seemed furious, grabbing my wrist. What act are you putting on now? The next moment, I was shielded from behind as Ethan's clear, cold voice sounded in my ear. Stay away from her. After a period, I shrank behind him, clutching his arm. Seeing this, Marcus's expression worsened. Grace, do you really think I'll start liking you again if you act like this? He wore a sarcastic smile, looking at Ethan. Ethan, Grace just beckons, and you come running. You truly are a lapdog. What does it matter if you've liked her for over a decade? She didn't even notice. How did you feel watching the two of us on dates in college? I noticed Ethan's fists at his sides were clenched tight. Our affairs are none of your business. All you need to know is, she doesn't want to see you right now. Marcus scoffed, looking at me. Grace, I'm giving you one last chance. Leave with me, and the wedding will proceed as planned in a month. I won't pursue anything related to Chloe. Or. Marcus glanced at Ethan, his smile vanishing. You can keep being stubborn, but after today, no matter how much you cry or make a scene, I will cancel the engagement. Choose. He said I could choose, but Marcus's eyes were full of certainty. As if I would break free from Ethan's hand and leave with him at any moment. Even the way Ethan looked at me seemed to confirm that he was sure I wouldn't choose him between the two of us. Everyone, it seemed, was convinced I would choose Marcus. I fell silent. Was I really such a doormat before? Seeing my silence, Marcus's sarcastic expression deepened, and he even reached out a hand to me. Ethan's grip on my hand loosened slightly, his eyes shadowed with darkness. Slap. A sharp slap echoed in the air. Marcus clutched his face, incredulous. Are you crazy? I hugged Ethan tightly, pressing my cheek against his back, and shook his arm. This person seems to have gone a little crazy. Can we go home? Honey, say something. Since being discharged, Ethan had been reserved and gentlemanly with me. We hadn't been this close often. I could feel Ethan's entire body tense up after I called him honey twice. Across from us, Marcus looked bewildered. Okay, let's go home. He turned, pulling me tightly into his embrace. Sarah was the first to cheer us on. She laughed playfully, already so mushy before the wedding? Don't overdo it, you too. Most of our other friends, being more perceptive, joined Sarah in teasing us. Only stood in the corner, his face dark. As and I left, he stared intently at me, as if trying to see through me. A few days later, Marcus suddenly announced that he and Chloe were together. The public erupted in an uproar. Fans shipping a couple is one thing, but the actual celebrities announcing it is another. Given status, getting involved with an artist under his own company was explosive news. Speculation ran wild, with many wondering why Grace wasn't making an appearance. In reality, Marcus's parents were already sitting in my living room. Mrs. Margaret forced a smile. My son is immature, we've already lectured him. She took my hand, saying earnestly, Grace, in my eyes, only you are worthy of being our Hayes family's daughter-in-law. An unsophisticated actress, there's no way we'll let her into the Hayes family. I calmly withdrew my hand. Though my memory was still jumbled, my expression remained unchanged. No need, Auntie. Let's just cancel the engagement. It's not the feudal era anymore, clinging to matching social status. I think Marcus and Chloe are a perfect match. They deserve each other, forever and always. They're a match made in hell, all right. Mrs. Margaret's smile stiffened, but she continued her earnest persuasion. Grace, Auntie knows you liked Marcus in university. When you broke up with him back then, he was just being petty. If didn't like you, why would he have agreed to the marriage in the first place? Her words made it sound as if Marcus's affection for me was some grand act of charity. Finally, my mother interjected, cutting off the conversation. Mrs. Margaret, I think there's no need to discuss this further. Our family isn't one that needs to sell off its daughter. We agreed to the alliance by marriage before because we thought Grace was willing. We, as parents, misunderstood her feelings. It's best not to make decisions for our children anymore. Truth be told, Grace is marrying Ethan next month. The two children grew up together, and their feelings run deep. Marcus is a good boy, but he should look for another match. With things said so explicitly, Mrs. Margaret naturally had nothing more to add. Losing patience, I went to swing on the swing in our small garden. Unexpectedly, I overheard Mrs. Margaret talking on the phone. You unfilial child, you'll be the death of me. I swear you don't have an ounce of common sense. Didn't you agree to the engagement then? What's this about being with that actress now? Grace is having her wedding with the second young master of the Cheen family next month. This matter is non-negotiable. Don't call me Mom. 7 After hanging up the phone, she glanced at me, swinging on the swing. A hint of embarrassment flashed across her face, and Mrs. Margaret finally sighed. I'm sorry, Grace. Marcus is saying one thing but meaning another, and he's a poor judge of character. You've been wronged. But as a mother, Auntie still wants to say that Marcus actually likes you. Is there really no possibility for you two? Mrs. Margaret looked at me with hopeful eyes. But I shook my head. Auntie, why bother? Ethan and I are doing great, and Marcus doesn't like me at all. What's the point of forcing two people into an alliance by marriage? After a moment of silence, Mrs. Margaret sighed, nodded, and left. Ethan sent me a message on my phone, asking which restaurant I wanted to go to for our weekend date. I smiled and forwarded him the restaurant I'd recently discovered. Ethan gave an okay gesture, indicating he would make the arrangements. My gloomy mood lifted, and I walked lightheartedly back into the house. It's best to forget bad memories. The affair between Marcus and Chloe began to cause a huge stir. Overnight, all the news was suddenly retracted, as if it had never appeared. Netizens were all curious, but Chloe, who usually loved to post on Twitter, suddenly seemed to have vanished. I browsed online and caught a glimpse, but then paid no further attention. With the wedding date approaching, Ethan and I were both extremely busy. A week later, I went to the hospital for a follow-up appointment. Ethan wanted to accompany New York me, but I knew his company was busy, so I told him I'd be perfectly fine going alone. After getting my diagnosis report, I had just gone downstairs when I ran into Marcus standing alone in the lobby. When he saw me, he looked up, with clear dark circles under his eyes. I pretended not to see him, planning to leave directly. Grace. Faced with my disregard, Marcus seemed to have reached his limit. I turned, frowning. Spit it out. Marcus's temple twitched, as if he was extremely unaccustomed to me speaking to him in that tone. About the alliance by marriage. He kept his lips pressed together, remaining silent. Just as my patience was running out, a sweet voice came from behind me. Marcus, who are you talking to? Chloe was holding a bag, wearing a mask, with her visible eyes adorned with exquisite makeup. When she saw me, her eyes darkened, but she quickly masked it. "Oh, it's Grace. Long time no see, Grace." She moved closer to Marcus and linked her arm through his. "I'm done with the doctor, let's go." However, Marcus remained rooted to the spot, staring at me intently. Chloe's expression tightened, and she forced a smile. "Right, Marcus just got back. It's only natural that Grace would want to catch up with him." She played the role of the understanding girlfriend, saying, "I'll wait for you over here." I looked at Chloe, then at Marcus. "Are you two really together?" Marcus's breathing hitched. What if I said it was true? I nodded. "You two are a good match. I wish you eternal happiness. But remember to send me 2 wedding gifts." Dropping that comment, I turned to leave. Unexpectedly, Marcus grabbed my wrist, his voice laced with anger. "After all these years, you still refuse to listen to my explanation. Why are you always so calm, but then you become suspicious and paranoid whenever Chloe is involved?" I widened my eyes. What a classic cliché. Even with my amnesia, I could guess that if I was suspicious and paranoid, there must have been something truly suspicious going on. I know myself well, I wouldn't wrongly accuse anyone without reason. I pulled my hand away. "Are we close?" As and I confronted each other, Chloe suddenly interjected. "Grace, please don't argue with Marcus anymore. Everything from before was my fault." She looked up pitifully. "Grace, please don't blame Marcus anymore." My lips curved into a slight smile. "Of course it was your fault." Chloe's smile froze. "But your methods weren't very clever. It's just that the person I was with before was foolish." I glanced at Marcus, then said casually, "Marcus, could you please move aside? I need to go home and eat the meal my fiancé cooked for me." Marcus, however, had an oddly specific focus. "You're living together?" He stared, his face full of disbelief. I raised an eyebrow. "We're getting married next month. Is living together really such an unusual thing?" Marcus gritted his teeth and moved to grab my arm. "Let's find somewhere to talk." During our struggle, the diagnosis report slipped from my hand. It happened to fall right at Marcus's feet. Marcus picked it up, a frown on his face, and his expression froze. After a long moment, he slowly looked up, his face bewildered. "Grace, what is this? Amnesia?" Marcus lowered his head, scrutinizing the diagnosis report word for word, as if he wanted to stare right through the paper in his hand. "This is impossible. How could you suddenly?" Marcus's voice trailed off. The words on the diagnosis report couldn't be faked. Seeing that he had found out, I no longer bothered to pretend. "That's right, I really don't remember, and I don't know you. Give me back the diagnosis report. I'm going home." I reached out to snatch the report, but Marcus, his face tense, hid it behind his back. "If you have amnesia, why would you agree to get engaged to Ethan?" I stated matter-of-factly, "Because I remember Ethan." "You remember Ethan, but you claim you don't know me?" Marcus's face darkened, and he demanded, "Grace, do you really think I'll believe that?" I scoffed, "Believe it or not, I don't care about the diagnosis report anymore." Too bothered to deal with Marcus anymore, I turned and left. As I left, I heard Chloe's voice. "Marcus, when are we going back?" Marcus, for some unknown reason, snapped, "We didn't come together. Don't you have legs? Can't you walk yourself?" With that, he called out to my retreating back, "Grace, I'll find out for myself whether this diagnosis report is real or not. Don't let me discover you're playing games with me." Inwardly, I rolled my eyes. A few days later, as I was leaving the company building, I noticed an unfamiliar car. Marcus pushed open the car door, his expression solemn. "Are you really suffering from amnesia?" I frowned almost imperceptibly. "What business is that of yours?" Marcus, however, seemed to miss the resistance in my eyes. "Come with me somewhere." He stubbornly tried to grab my hand. I dodged his outstretched hand and retorted, "Why should I go with you? That place might help you recall your past memories." I was half skeptical. What kind of place is so magical? My phone vibrated. I unlocked the screen and saw a message from Ethan. "Are you off work?" I ignored Marcus and focused on replying to the message. "Yep. What delicious food did you make today?" Without my noticing, Marcus leaned closer, saw the message on my phone, and his face darkened. "Grace, are you sure you like Ethan? Are you really so afraid of regaining your memory that you're willing to marry him so ignorantly?" Marcus's expression was filled with unwillingness. "I've consulted a doctor. Your condition requires more brain stimulation. Come with me to that place, it might help you recall something." I turned off my phone and looked up, meeting his gaze. "Fine, I'll go." An hour later, Marcus drove me to Riverbend University, my alma mater. As we walked through the campus, Marcus tirelessly recounted stories to me. Do you remember this place? The track and field complex. We used to often walk here when we first started dating. And this dining hall, the sweet and sour pork at counter number 2 was your favorite. Finally, we stopped by the basketball court. It wasn't dark yet, and many students were playing basketball on the court. Suddenly, I heard a commotion, and a ball flew directly towards me. Watch out! Marcus noticed the flying ball, shouted, and reached out to block it. In my panic, I felt myself being pulled into someone's arms, and I smelled the fresh scent of soap. Looking up, I met Ethan's gaze. Why are you here with him? Didn't you say you were going home for dinner? I opened my mouth to explain, but a sharp pain shot through my head. My legs instantly gave way, but Ethan caught me, preventing me from falling. Grace? In a daze, I felt Ethan scoop me up into his arms. Pushing away, he carried me directly to his car. Are you in pain? Drink some water first, I'll take you to the hospital right away. I clutched Ethan's hand, saying weakly, wait. I remember. Marcus, through blind luck, came up with a method that actually worked. While walking around campus, vague memories had begun to flash through my mind. The basketball that almost hit me moments ago became the final trigger. I also understood why Marcus had brought me to the basketball court. This basketball court was where he and I first met. And the origin of our acquaintance was also because he had blocked a flying basketball for me. What came back to me wasn't just the beauty of the beginning. It was also the arguments, misunderstandings, a complete mess, and the despondency I felt when I said the word breakup. And the regret and hatred in my heart that night I had a high fever. On the way back, I remained silent. The flood of memories left me feeling overwhelmed. Ethan also remained silent throughout the drive. Upon arriving home, I noticed the dining table was laden with dishes. Having been left out too long, the food had lost its warmth. I'll just throw them away later, Ethan said in a low voice. No, don't. I can still eat them if you warm them up, I said quickly. Ethan looked up, and only then did I notice his eyes were a little red. I'm sorry. I'm sorry for keeping it from you all this time. The wedding is still a week away. It's not too late to call it off now. Wait, I said, rubbing my forehead as I listened to Ethan. Why cancel? Didn't you get your memory back? Ethan pressed his lips together. If you want to go find Marcus, I won't stop you. Marcus? I scoffed. Yes, I am going to find him. But it's to settle a score. The next day, I stormed into Hayes's company building. The receptionist's expression changed when she heard who I was, and she awkwardly asked me to wait a moment. When arrived, his face lit up with surprise. You're looking for me? Did you remember something? I nodded. Yes, I remembered I still have a score to settle. Get out here. I timed it perfectly, knowing Chloe was currently at the company. Before my amnesia, I had been in poor shape due to extensive cyberbullying and illness. It had allowed her to get away with it for too long. Marcus looked hesitant. Chloe and I weren't actually anything serious, please don't be angry. Those photos were taken by someone I hired, and Chloe just played along. I was just a little angry that you broke up with me back then. I felt like I had heard the biggest joke. Marcus, you don't actually think I'm jealous because I'm still in love with you, do you? Seeing the anger in my eyes, Marcus was speechless. Fine, I'll have Chloe come see you. When arrived, she carried an unhurried demeanor. Grace, why are you at the company? And she didn't finish her sentence before a sharp sound echoed in the air. I shook my hand, my smile humorless. Chloe froze, seemingly not expecting me to slap her without a word. You hit me? Chloe's beautiful eyes widened. I sneered twice. Yes, I did. What, weren't you the one who bought online trolls and spread rumors that I bullied you in university? Alright, I'm actually here to bully you now. What do you have to say? Tears welled up in Chloe's eyes, and she looked pitifully at Marcus. Marcus, however, stood rooted, his brows furrowed. Is what Grace said true? I didn't do anything, Chloe said, casting down her eyes and shedding tears. Marcus, don't you know what kind of person I am? Marcus looked at me, frowning. Grace, are you mistaken? Mistaken? I smiled, turning to Chloe. Did you really think your little schemes were flawless? Chloe's face stiffened, and she forced a smile. What are you talking about? I shook my phone, thoughtfully holding the screen up for her to see. The top 3 trending topics, each one featuring Chloe's name. Number 1 trending topic, Chloe, haha. Chloe clicked on it with trembling hands. Ranking first was a Twitter post from an ordinary girl. I'm exposing popular actress Chloe for having an affair with my ex-boyfriend, interfering in someone else's relationship. Here are the photos and proof. The girl not only recounted the entire process of Chloe's interference but also managed to get chat logs and photos of Chloe, compiling them into a slideshow presentation. After regaining my memory, I logged back into my old Twitter account. I was unfazed by the private messages filled with insults and slander. Among the many messages, I saw one from a girl. She encouraged me to cheer up, saying that many people in our year couldn't stand Chloe. She also said that she knew Marcus and I had been a couple back then, and that we broke up because of Chloe. Because had broken up her and her ex-boyfriend in the same way. Later, the girl agreed to come forward and expose Chloe to clear my name. The only condition was that I protect her personal privacy. 10 When I left Hayes, Marcus apologized in a low voice. I'm sorry. I didn't know she did all those things, and I never thought she'd hire online trolls to smear your name. I said calmly, it doesn't matter anymore. It does matter. Marcus pleaded, let's get back together, Grace. You remember everything now, don't you? Everything before was a misunderstanding. I was the one you loved, and I loved you too. That's in the past. I shook my head. 5 years, Marcus. I moved on a long time ago. Regarding the alliance by marriage, the Hayes family approached my parents at the time. They thought I liked you, but they didn't ask for my opinion. I only compromised because I didn't care. A marriage of convenience among the elite was never meant to be real anyway. I smiled. It really doesn't matter to me who I have an alliance by marriage with, or who I marry. Marcus pressed his lips together, his eyes urgent. Since it doesn't matter, then cancel your wedding with Ethan and marry me. I looked at him and smiled. I did like you in the past. But now, I think I've truly fallen for Ethan. When I got home, the whole room was dark, and I thought no one was there. I turned on the light and found Ethan sitting on the sofa. In front of him, the coffee table was covered with empty liquor bottles. I looked at him in surprise. Ethan, drunk, raised his head and gave me a wounded expression. You didn't come home all day. Are you going to leave me? I gently soothed him. I told you yesterday I had something to do today. See? I'm back now, aren't I? Ethan wrapped his arms around my waist, nuzzling his face against me. Then you're not allowed to like Marcus anymore. You can only like me. A drunken Ethan was especially childish. Normally, he would never say such things. Perhaps because he usually kept his emotions so reined in, I had never realized he liked me before. I closed my eyes, thinking about what I had done in the past. To pursue Marcus, I'd drag Ethan along to give me advice, asking him what kind of gifts guys usually liked. Ethan would take me to delicious restaurants, and if I thought one was good, I'd say I'd bring Marcus to try it next time. I couldn't believe how much Ethan must have suffered back then. But I never noticed. I hugged Ethan and stroked his back. That will never happen again. I'll only ever love you from now on. Hearing this, Ethan released me and blinked. Really? I smiled and nodded, I'm not lying to you. The next moment, something soft pressed against my lips, carrying a faint scent of alcohol. Ethan was kissing me. He held me so tightly I could barely breathe. As the kiss deepened, I felt my cheeks dampen slightly, but I wasn't crying. I don't know how long it was before we finally pulled apart. Ethan was crying. He picked me up by the waist and carried me into the bedroom. The next day, I woke up around noon. My whole body ached, but the culprit wasn't in bed. Entering the living room, I found a table laden with various dishes, all part of a nutritious meal. Ethan had left me a note saying he had gone to the office and to remember to heat the food before eating. I gritted my teeth, suspecting he felt guilty. While I was eating, my phone rang. I answered, and Sarah's excited voice came through. Grace, did you see what went viral online yesterday? Even more people are coming forward with revelations today. Someone dug up that Chloe isn't from a financially struggling family at all. She's even considered middle class, but she fraudulently claimed the spot for a financially struggling student. And she was also involved in a questionable relationship with the counselor from your department at the time, and she stole someone else's scholarship too. It's all out in the open now. 11 As I listened to Sarah, I opened Twitter. Sure enough, what went viral online today was even more sensational than yesterday. Chloe's public relations team remained completely inactive. Fans tried playing the victim card and offered explanations in various comment sections, but in the face of irrefutable evidence, no one belied their claims. They started complaining that Chloe's company wasn't doing anything. But half a day later, Hayes released a statement saying that their contract with disgraced artist Chloe had ended this month and would not be renewed. They also revealed Chloe's previous private misconduct, including hiring online trolls to spread rumors and defame others. I was among those who had been slandered. Chloe's reputation was utterly ruined, no company would sign her now, and her endorsement brands all cancelled their partnerships. She got what she deserved, and I couldn't be bothered to pursue Chloe any further. Besides, my wedding to Ethan was fast approaching. On the day of the wedding, I wore the wedding gown I had carefully chosen. My parents and Ethan's parents were chatting and laughing jovially, watching me, arm in arm with Ethan, standing before them. Ethan's mother was grinning from ear to ear. I've wanted Grace to be my daughter-in-law for a long time, but that rascal of mine just couldn't get his act together. Ethan looked helpless. Mom. Ethan's mother raised an eyebrow. What's wrong? I'm not forcing you, am I? Who was it who always wanted his little sister Grace to be his wife when they played house as kids, and would sneak back home to sulk in secret when Grace refused? I squeezed Ethan's hand and whispered in his ear, so you've had ulterior motives since you were that young? Ethan looked up at me, his expression calm. I should have just kidnapped you when we were kids, so you could only be my wife. I laughed so hard I could barely stand straight, watching a faint blush creep up his neck and behind his ears, despite his outwardly calm demeanor. The wedding hadn't officially begun yet, so I went backstage to touch up my makeup. Once everything was ready, I slipped out of the dressing room, looking for Ethan. Unexpectedly, someone stopped me on the way. Marcus? I frowned. What are you doing here? The guest seating isn't this way. Marcus looked at me, a bitter expression on his face. You're still marrying Ethan. Grace, please come with me. I've already kicked Chloe out of the company and exposed everything she did to give you justice. Marcus lowered his gaze. It was my poor judgment of character that led to our breakup due to misunderstanding. I'll make up for all my shortcomings. Can you please give me another chance? I sighed. His persistent badgering was starting to irritate me. Just as I was about to speak, a cold voice came from behind me. She can't. I turned around and met Ethan's eyes. Ethan shielded me behind him and looked at Marcus. Ethan, what are you doing, playing the devoted lover here? Marcus's eyes were filled with resentment as he looked at Ethan. How long have you two been together? Are you sure you won't make the same mistake I did? Ethan sneered. Of course not. Only a fool like you would be a poor judge of character. I, on the other hand, will always choose to trust Grace. Marcus's face darkened. You. Enough. I stepped in front of Ethan. Marcus, this is the last time I'm saying this. When we argued back then, I felt hatred and disappointment, but the moment I suggested breaking up, it meant that chapter of the relationship had already closed in my heart. I've never felt any regret, nor will I dwell on past people or events. You don't need to apologize to me anymore, because I stopped caring a long time ago. I looked at Ethan. Now, I found the person I love and care about again. Marcus, let's give each other a dignified ending, okay? Marcus looked into my eyes, unmoving. A moment later, his gaze slowly dimmed, and he turned and left. The wedding march filled the ballroom, and pink petals drifted down. In the center of the hall, surrounded by family and friends, the minister solemnly recited the wedding vows. Ethan placed the ring on my finger, his eyes as gentle as waves. I do. I smiled. I do too. Confetti cannons exploded, and we kissed amidst cheers and applause. Thank you for watching today's story. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and share it with your friends. We look forward to hearing your thoughts in the comments section. Feel free to share your opinions, and don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more exciting stories. See you next time.